and welcome to Getting to Good Enough, a podcast to help you let go of perfectionism so you can do more of what you love. I'm Shannon Wilkinson, a life coach in Portland, Oregon. I'm a recovering perfectionist who's getting better at good enough.
And I'm Janine Adams, a certified professional organizer in St. Louis, Missouri, and I'm lucky enough to be naturally good at good enough.
And today we're talking about the value of margins. Hey Janine.
Hey Shannon, how you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm good too. I'm feeling proud of myself because for some reason, I didn't have the Evernote note open in front of me that has our little script, and I didn't have my mouse near me, so I did that from memory.
Wow!
After only 114 episodes, I did it without, I almost screwed it up, but I did it.
Yeah, I did hear you stumble, and I tried not to laugh. But well done. You made it.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much.
And because we've heard from past episodes that I often stumble. And
I think often is overstating it.
Well, but when I stumble, I really stumble.
Yeah.
So that's excellent. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
I'm glad I could be here for that.
Yeah, and I'm glad that I shared it with the listenership so they can be so proud of me.
Yeah. Oh, well, today this podcast may be of marginal value. I mean, we're talking about the value of margins.
That's right, the value of margins.
Yes, we hope it will be of much more value than just marginal.
Right.
But we started talking about this idea because I've noticed as people are trying to figure out like how to plan and how to make decisions when everything is so uncertain, that one of the ways you can do that is to create margin in your life, in your decision making, in whatever situation you are, so that you have some flexibility. And I think with perfectionism, if you're really sort of dealing with that at a heightened level, which often happens during times of uncertainty, your inclination is to try to get it right and to really sort of, and I want to say like fill out the whole decision, like try to figure everything out. And then if, one thing goes awry, then it all, sort of goes bad.
Right. Planning is a great thing, but sometimes if we plan things in too great a detail where each step is dependent on the previous step, we can really, it can go awry easily. And
yes.
Then, and when there's so much uncertainty about most things, it's building that margin. And by that we mean what? Wiggle room. I feel like we should describe what we mean by margin. I'll let you do that.
I mean, wiggle room, flexibility, it's like the margins on a paper. You don't write edge to edge. You leave margins so that you have some space, which is easing for the mind, but also if you need to go back and put in a note or, add something or change something, you have the space to do it.
Right. So not everything is packed in so tightly, and that's true of all sorts of things, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, I have found in my work, when I first started leading organizing teams, I would plan. I would have these elaborate plans of what we were going to get done, who was going to work where, how much we're going to get done, and then they moved to the next area. And I learned pretty fast, they literally never went like I planned. Literally.
Yes.
Not once. And so now I basically stopped the planning. And it's all fine. I mean, because I know enough to make on-the-spot decisions. I don't have to plan it so far. But yeah, I definitely could have used some more margins in those early big team jobs.
Yeah, because it gets really stressful if you have, created a plan or made a decision that relies on everything to work in a particular way. When it starts not working that way, that really heightens your stress level.
Right, exactly. Yeah, right? And instead of going, not over planning and going with the flow where you're just adapting as you go along.
Right.
People are wired differently, I know, but for me, that's definitely a more enjoyable approach, but it's taken me a while to get there.
Yeah.
I'm definitely someone who will over plan like a trip. Yeah.
Yeah, I totally get that. And also, whenever I've been inclined to like really plan something down to the detail, it rarely ever works out.
Right.
And not like it doesn't work out, but like it doesn't go according to plan. I may get to the place I wanted to get, but probably not by the route I expected to take.
Right. I feel like maybe we discussed this in the episode we did on travel. This is feeling a little bit familiar.
Does it?
I don't know. I would go, yeah, maybe. So, and that was episode 59. We talked about building flexibility into our travels.
Oh yeah, we did, because I talked about how like I like to have, depending on the length of the trip, at least one full day or one half day or more where nothing is scheduled.
Right. During the trip. And then you also like that buffer coming home a day early before you have to get back to real life and give yourself at the end of the trip that buffer. Yeah.
Yes.
So those are examples of the kinds of margins we're talking about as well, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm also thinking about our conversation is making me think about when I was planning my wedding and how my destination, quote unquote, was that, Mike and I be legally married at the end of the day. Uh-huh. And, that was the one thing that had to happen. And everything else was, what's the word I want?
I don't know, gravy, superfluous?
Not superfluous, but, like gravy. It was, whatever, the word will come to me. Anyway, you get the idea. Mm-hmm. But so then what I did was I thought about like how I wanted the event to feel, like how I wanted to feel, how I wanted the people to feel who are attending, and started planning around that. And I didn't get super rigid about what that meant. Mm-hmm. And I just, sort of kept my eye on, I wanted people to have fun. I just wanted it to feel like a fun party celebrating love. And to be really personal, be unique to us. Mm-hmm. And so I just, sort of made my decisions based around that. And it was really a low stress planning. And then, at the actual wedding, it was pretty low stress because I didn't care, like I remember a friend saying, and I sort of feel like I've told this story too, but I remember a friend of mine saying like, oh, it's going to get stressful and you're going to, freak out and blah, 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 like, how planning weddings are and how weddings are. And I'm like, well, no, because all I care is if we're married and anything else is, a good story.
There you go. That's excellent.
and he just looked at me like I was insane. I'm like, I'm too old to get stressed out over this.
Yeah. That was a very successful approach because not only did you get married at the end of the day, but mm-hmm. You totally didn't look stressed out at the wedding, and it was a delightfully fun wedding and unusual and personal. I mean, it was terrific. There was nothing stressful about, from a guest standpoint, about that wedding. That's for sure.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and since we're talking about your wedding, can I just, what's the word? Jeez. Shannon, we can't think of words. I want to stray from the topic for a moment. There's another word for that. Uh-huh. I think it starts with a D. To say, I think it's absolutely hilarious that you celebrated your anniversary on the wrong day.
Oh my God, we should have started that. If that wasn't like embracing imperfection, I don't know what is. It is so funny. Okay, so here's the story for people who don't follow me on social media. Our wedding anniversary was last week on July 8th, last week from when we're recording. And I will admit that a few weeks before that, my husband and I had to have a conversation about what date our anniversary actually was on. Oh. And we remembered that it was July 7th. Oh. July 8th.
Oh, okay.
We knew it was July 8th. Uh-huh. But for some reason, we thought July 8th was Tuesday.
It's the pandemic.
Yes, and July 8th was Wednesday, but for some reason we got it in our heads that it was Tuesday. And so then, I went from thinking about our anniversary being the 8th to our anniversary being Tuesday. And so we got this like amazing Italian takeout dinner, and we went and had this picnic up on Mount Tabor in Portland and watched the sunset and had a little Prosecco, and we exchanged presents and really had a very, very lovely evening. Went home the next morning, and I remember thinking that day, like, it's so weird that I didn't have any Facebook memories pop up about the wedding. But, I was like, oh, whatever.
Oh, Facebook.
Yeah. And then the next morning, I went out for a run, and I came home and I checked Facebook, and all these memories pop up about our past 2 anniversaries and our wedding. And then I was like, and then the one that did it was where we got married had an outdoor marquee that had the date on it. And I looked at it and it said 7/8/17. And I looked at my watch and I was like, wait. And then I saw it was the 8th, and that, yes, the day before was not the 8th, and that we had celebrated on the wrong day.
It's so fun. You're 2 very smart people. You'd think that one of you would have noticed the date on Tuesday.
Well, so Mike claims that he thought it was the wrong date, but he didn't want to say anything because if he was wrong, then he would be wrong. He didn't want to risk being wrong to say, isn't it Wednesday?
Oh, for heaven's sakes. The thing is, it's like an empirical thing. It's not an opinion. It's a fact.
I know.
Oh, my God. Well, I woke up to on the 8th. And when I looked at Facebook, I saw your messages that you had posted the night before about your beautiful anniversary dinner. And I was so confused. I was like, today's the 8th. Her anniversary's on the 8th. She posted this yesterday. And my mind couldn't get around it. And I was going to check my calendar, but my dad had a health event that day, right? So I know it was the 8th. Yeah. So on your wedding day. So it was just like, I hadn't reconciled it yet. And then you posted on Facebook, oh my God, I can't believe we celebrated on the wrong day. I told so many people about that. It's so funny.
Oh my God, I started laughing so hard. And then the first thing I did was type in all caps to Mike, oh my God, our wedding is today, not yesterday. Or our anniversary was today, not yesterday. And then I posted on Facebook, oh my God, our anniversary is today, not yesterday.
Did you guys celebrate again? That's what I want to know.
No, not really.
Yeah.
We thought about it, but, it's complicated to celebrate during a global pandemic.
Right, absolutely. All right, well, I'm sorry for that diversion, but I just had to say that I just thought it was so funny that you did. And that's beautifully imperfect, right? I mean,
yes.
You guys kind of made a mistake, but you didn't, because you had a beautiful night and a beautiful celebration, and then you got to have it another day of celebrating. So
yeah, and then we got to enjoy it again.
And a great story.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, oh my God, I've been telling everyone.
Yeah.
Because it makes me laugh so hard.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. Well, so thanks for bringing that up because, I mean, I think everyone should enjoy that little moment because that's sort of priceless, really.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, but
Margins.
back to margins. I was talking to someone today. You know, people are having to make decisions about school and work based on whether or not school's going to happen and that sort of stuff. And that's sort of what got me thinking about this and you know, trying to make decisions that build in margin. And I just had a conversation with someone about it this morning, and with the idea of as you're making a decision, you know, try to make a decision that you have sort of the most I said it in such a great way to her. I can't remember exactly how I said it, but like, you know, try to go with a decision where you have more certainty, you know, like you am I making any sense?
Are you saying that choose the things that you know you can be certain about and work around those?
Yes.
Yeah,
because
that
there's a
makes
lot
sense.
of things that, you know, that we don't have any certainty about. You know, we don't know what kind of stay-at-home orders are going to be in place in a month and a half. We don't know, you know, we don't know what the level of the health crisis will be in various places in a month and a half. And so if you're trying to make decisions, you know, what are you pretty sure about? Like, what do you know? And in this case, it was about living on campus or off campus, and, you know, trying to decide, you know, which makes more sense. And so, you know, my recommendation was to, for now, point yourself in the direction that has less variables. So that would be living on campus as opposed to trying to find a place off campus, which introduces a whole bunch of new variables in an already uncertain situation. And by sort of pointing yourself in that direction and keeping margin, you know, allowing yourself the flexibility to make choices as things become more certain, or as things become less, I don't know, transitory, then you are more likely to end up in a situation you want to be in.
Right, and it seems to me that it's so much more beneficial than just becoming paralyzed with indecision because of the uncertainty. So focus, you know, it would be so easy to make no decisions until you know more. But if you can, you know, pick something you and go with that, leaving margin for changing your mind or changing your course as circumstances change, that seems to me to be more empowering and more beneficial.
Yeah, absolutely. And a big part of that is because not making a decision is making a decision.
That's right.
It just leaves the decision up to, you know, what's left when you have to do something, you know, like what's still available. Because, you know, usually what happens is your options narrow as you get closer to the time by which you have to make a decision. And so not making a decision means you're just allowing outside forces to narrow your choices down.
Right. Yeah. I'm facing a kind of a similar, a situation that comes to mind, which is that, as I've told you, Shannon, my dad turns 90 in September, and he lives in Walla Walla, and I haven't been able to go there. And I really want to be there for his 90th birthday, but I don't like the idea of getting on an airplane and maybe picking up the virus and spreading it to him. Right. Right. And so I do have a plane reservation because maybe everything will be better by then. But I'm also exploring driving. And it's a long drive, but I've never made, but it could be fun. And so I'm looking into, I'm just sort of exploring what the routes would be like, trying to get a feel for what that would be like and what the expense would be and so forth. And actually, the expense isn't bad because I would rent a car because, I got asset comfort. Yeah. If I'm going to be in my car for 25 hours each way, I'm going to have some comfort. But, so just sort of what I'm trying to do is have a couple of options that I feel comfortable with that I can then steer toward when I have more certainty.
Yes.
Yeah. But right now,
I think it
doesn't seem like I'm getting on a plane to visit my dad in September. Right.
Right. Well, and we just had this conversation with someone else about traveling and how if you get on a plane, you really need to be in a position where you can self-quarantine for 10 to 14 days afterwards.
Yes, indeed.
And if you're going to visit someone and you're not planning to stay 3 weeks,
right,
that doesn't make a lot of sense.
Right. I might as well drive and take all that extra time in the car.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. So does that fit in with what you were talking about? What I said?
Yeah, I think it does because, you're adding this margin in of flexibility.
Mm-hmm, right.
Because you're figuring out different options. You're not honing in on a rigid decision. You're not making a decision. You're doing what you can do based on the information you have now. Like, it wouldn't make sense for you to say, definitely I'm going or definitely I'm not going.
Right. Although I really want to go. So I think I will I'm operating under the assumption I'm going to go. It's just more a matter of how I'm going to go.
Right. Yeah. I mean, you can operate under that assumption, but there are certainly situations where you might not go, such as if they don't allow travel into Washington.
Yeah, exactly.
Or into any of the states that you would have to drive through to get there.
Oh, yeah. I didn't think about that.
Because,
that's a lot of states.
Yeah. Like, if what, would you drive through Idaho, I'm assuming?
I would drive through, South Dakota, Montana, just a little bit of Idaho.
Okay. Because I think Idaho is the one that's probably likely to be the most sticky. But, if you have to drive through somewhere that's really having a huge surge, doesn't make a lot of sense.
Yeah, and I couldn't get there without going through Idaho, I don't think. Right, that's a good point. So I'm just trying to be cool and build in some options and try and be okay with whatever has to happen since it's out of my control.
Right. And remember, keeping in mind the ultimate goal is to celebrate your father for his 90th birthday, and your hope is that you get to do that in person. But if there's a high likelihood that you would also be bringing him a deadly disease, that's not a really very nice way to celebrate him.
It's not a good birthday gift.
No. It's the gift that keeps on giving, but not in a good way.
Right.
Oh, we laugh, but it's like, they're saying in Oregon that that's the biggest problem right now as they're doing contact tracing are social events between family and friends. And that, because even if it's small groups, people get together because it feels safe, and then entire families are getting diagnosed. Yeah. So, so, you figure out where your comfort level is, and then you just, in this case, you just have to wait until you get closer.
Exactly. Yep.
And you allow yourself the space to be able to do that. So, presumably you got a ticket that's changeable or refundable or whatever. And, I think it's really just about not locking yourself into something that sort of forces you to make a decision that you might not otherwise make.
Yes, right.
Yeah. So I think that just allow, and the other thing that this makes me think of is that you can't underestimate the sort of mental, emotional bandwidth that's taken up by the stress of living in a global pandemic during a time of social unrest and economic uncertainty and political uncertainty and, sort of all the things that are going on. And that takes a fair amount of brain power just to sort of be functioning today. And so building in margin just in your day and, just in your everyday is a really useful thing. Like, don't expect that you can accomplish the same amount that you could accomplish, say, 6 months ago.
Exactly. Yeah. That's being kind to yourself.
Yes.
I took Bix for a play date, and I was scheduling the next one with a friend who has a standard poodle, and I said, well, next week is really hectic for me. And then I said, well, for these days, right?
Yes.
I had like 2 appointments on my calendar. And so,
right.
So it's like, I couldn't possibly have a play date. That just felt like way too much. Yeah, it is. It's definitely a different scheduling situation. And I, for one, am really grateful to have a much less full calendar, just from my stress standpoint.
Yeah, it's nice. So I just think it's important for people to keep cutting themselves slack. Like, these are not things that we're used to. And while we've always sort of lived under uncertainty, or, in a space of uncertainty, we've been able to create the illusion of certainty in our lives and predictability. And just now it's like, that illusion has been, the curtain's been drawn back, and it's like,
Right.
No, not really.
Right. Yeah.
So, anything else to say about margin, the value of margins?
No, I feel we've covered it.
Excellent. Well, we want to hear from you. How do you create margin in your life? How have you found it to be important? How might you use margin in decision making going forward? You can let us know by calling 413-424-GTGE, that's 4843, and leave a message. You can leave a comment on the show notes for this episode at gettingtogoodenough.com, or you can let us know on social media, Facebook and Instagram at Getting to Good Enough, and on Twitter at GTG Enough. But for now, this is Shannon Wilkinson in Portland, Oregon.
And Janine Adams in St. Louis, Missouri.
And we hope that good enough is getting easier for you. I'm still laughing about the anniversary thing.
Oh, you'll be laughing for years to come.